talking about Mantz, we knew he was capable of breaking the American record. Everyone expected to do him, and he did it. On last week's show, on Tuesday's show, I kind of pushed back against the 203 talk, and then after the Supporters Club podcast on Friday, I was like, yeah, I can see best case scenario 203 high. He went aggressively and gave him the opportunity to do that. He went out too aggressively. He went out in 14:23, which is about 7 or 8 seconds faster, too fast per mile. But he ended up hitting halfway in 62:19 and then holding on it incredibly well. I mean, he ended up running 2:04:43, so it was 62:19, 62:24. Is that right? Almost dead even. Ends up, the great news is, American record. There is some bad news. This was marathon number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Marathon number 8, actually.
Correct. For the 7th marathon that's not the Olympic trials, which he won, I would say, got second place. He's never finished on the podium in a major. He was 4th in this one. He did gain on the winner in the last 6 miles. He was over 3 minutes behind at one point, ended up 2:20 back. But last night, Jason in Southeast Asia took to the message boards and wrote, realistically, what are Conor Mantz's chances of winning a major? And he writes, at this point, I give Conor Mantz less than a 10% chance of ever winning in the big 3 marathons, which he describes as Chicago, New York, and Boston. I've got a problem with the description, but anyways, he's truly world-class, no doubt about that, but we've now seen enough races to get a realistic picture of where he fits in. Does anyone really honestly think he can win one of these races? Or is he stealing more of the perennial top American occasional podium threat rather than champion? As I think his coach, Ed Eystone, deserves some of his blame for this too. He seems perfectly fine with Conor sitting back in the chase group as long as he gets the American record. That mindset might produce fast times, but it's not the kind that wins big marathons.
A ludicrous take. You can't just will yourself to be faster. To win this race, he'd have to run 2:02. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't fit enough. That's just a ridiculous take.
100% agree. I strongly disagree with that take. Meb Keflezighi won 2 majors, and he never went out in a race like this at this pace. You can win a major and not be good at time trialing type marathons. That wasn't Meb's strong suit. And we gave him no chances of winning majors, and he won 2 of them. So a championship style race like New York or Chicago is going to suit him better. Fine. Yeah, 10%. I don't know if they're that high, but...
Correct. I'm glad that Weldon said that, because Weldon in the past on this very podcast has said the Americans got to change the mindset. They got to get the whiner's mindset. They just got to go for it. I'm like, that's not the way it works. He went out and this guy says he's too conservative. He went out in 14:23.
Right, which he acknowledged was probably a little too quick. But he hit halfway in 62:16 and basically held on to that pace. He ran, compared to what other Americans have done in history, he ran pretty aggressively. He did want to go out in 62 flat, and that didn't end up happening. I think maybe they overcorrected a little bit after the first 5K. What are his chances he ever wins a major? I think 10% is probably about right, because there's 2 ways of looking at this. If you look at the American men who have won majors recently, there's only 2 of them, Galen Rupp and Meb Keflezighi. And both of them, you knew almost right away. They showed that ability. Meb debuted in the marathon in 2002. He was only 9th in New York, but within 2 years, he had a silver medal at the Olympics and then finished 2nd at New York that fall. So you kind of knew, okay, this guy's a world-class top marathoner. He didn't win New York until 2009, but he had that, at least, ability. Same thing with Rupp. He debuts in 2016, 2nd marathon of his life. He gets the bronze medal at the Olympics. He wins Chicago the next year. Mantz debuted in 2022. He hasn't been close to win any of these races. So you'd say, well, if he hasn't shown that ability, can he really do it? But I would say the better comparison might be someone like Shalane Flanagan. the thing about Shalane, she didn't really come all that close to winning a major the first few years of her career. She was second in New York in 2010, but after that, here are her major appearances. 9th in London, 4th Boston, 3rd Berlin, 5th Boston, 9th Boston, 6th Olympics. And then in year 8 of her marathon career, 2017, she wins New York. So she did have the debut in second, but a lot of those other ones, she's not like fighting it out for the win. She's just posting like, okay, top 5, top 4, something like that. And then she kept her mantra, keep showing up, her and Des. And eventually she got in a situation where it wasn't a super strong field that year in New York. There's, maybe 3 or 4 contenders to win it. She put herself in the mix and she had a great day. And Mary Keitany didn't have a great day. And, we mentioned she was dealing with a period. It came out later. But I think that's the sort of comparison I would make for Mantz. He's gotten better. He debuted with a 2:08.16. He was 7th in Chicago. He's continued to get faster, and he's moved up in the ranks. He was 6th in Chicago in 23. Last year, he finished as 6th in New York. Then this year, he's 4th in Boston, but he's only 4 seconds out of 2nd. And again, he finishes 4th in Chicago on Sunday. He's 6 seconds away from the podium. So if he can keep getting better and stay healthy and just show up to these marathons year after year, could he have a day where I think he'll be on the podium in a year or two if he can continue like this. And could he get that magic day where everything comes together, where one of the top rivals has a bad day and something and he wins one? Yeah, I think that's possible. I don't think the odds of that are high, but that's how I would see it happening.
For the record, Mantz went out in 2:01 pace for the first 5K, and this idiot poster thought he was he's too conservative. No, he almost blew the race. I couldn't believe he went out that fast to begin with. Look, in a rabbited race like this, I think he's got no shot of winning. None. I mean, I guess you could say they could all blow up. I mean, let's be honest. In these races, they're generally only like 6 or 7 studs. If they're all off their game and all sick, yeah, that's possible. But Mantz in Boston was kicking for second. He ended up 4th this year, but he ended up right behind the guy that won the world title. And that being said, I don't think he's quite. I mean, you said it best. You saw right away with Meb, right away with Ryan, with Galen Rupp. I mean, Rupp wins the trials, gets 3rd in the Olympics, and then gets 2nd in Boston, and then wins Chicago in his first 4 marathons. Now, Rupp his Chicago win was a perfect day to run fast. Temperatures were in the 50s at the start and the 60s at the finish. It was a 2:09.20 race. None of the first 14 miles were under 5 minutes per mile. Now, there were 7 guys in that race. It wasn't like it was a watered down field. I mean, back then, 7 guys had broken 2:07. 2 of them dropped out. 4 of them faded in the second half. But me and the marathon is still the one event. I don't know how to be PC. Everyone knows I can't be PC.